we need to study, we need to get all of my work done so I can have fun this weekend. But first, what we're gonna do is plan out the day. I only have one thing at 2:30 today, and it's like with one of my residents, but we're gonna plan out the day. So I'm pulling up my study plan, and I'm going to put the assignments in order that they are due. So since the first thing we're going to do is due tomorrow, we are going to start with that. It's a lecture and then it's a discussion response.
Custom Trade Partnership Against Terrorism. I dare anybody to say that 10 times fast, but Custom Trade Partnership Against Terrorism, CTPAT. I want you to read the 2 links within the video I showed you, and just give an idea of what you think about CTPAT, and do you think it's a functioning...
The first thing we have to do is watch the video that was posted. So I'm just going to put that in my notes. It's called CTPAT Introduction. So next we're going to move on to cybersecurity, and for cybersecurity I take notes on the computer because there is just a lot of important information that takes a long time to write down. So let me show you how I set up the document.
Property crimes, electronic privacy laws, computer hacker investigations, and search and seizure cases involving computers. Members of the CCIPS section advise.
We are going to start with Module 8 for Human and Counterintelligence, which is for my Homeland Security major. This class is online, so I prefer taking notes on my iPad or notebook and paper. But recently I've been doing a lot more iPad notes than normal, so we are just going to stick to iPad notes for right now. So each week we have readings and a lecture. Wednesday night our discussion post is due on the reading, so this week's discussion post is on pick one of the technical operations discussed in the readings for this week's and discuss this question: how did human intelligence enable or threaten the operations? So before we get started with the discussion, we are going to do the lecture first, and I'm going to be taking the lecture notes on my iPad. So first we are going to title it, and the title of this lecture is Techniques of Technical Operations. Something that you're going to notice, I take different types of notes for each class. So these notes are kind of bigger. They're not the neatest, but they work. So for example, I love my education notes, and this is how my education notes look. Just love how neat they are. We're going to go through this lecture. It's a short lecture, and then we are just going to put the important information on the iPad. Okay, so the next class we're gonna, okay, my voice is leaving my body. I like have a cold or something. I don't know where I got it, but as I mentioned before, we're not doing math here anymore. So that's where my voice went, it left. But the next class we are gonna be working on is international migration. So international migration is one of my sociology elective classes, and for this class we have a couple articles to read each week, and then we have a guest speaker who wrote the some of the articles, come in, answer our questions, talk about their study and like what they found. I've done some of the reading already for this week. It's called Immigrant Victims' Rights to Legal Status. So I've already read Constitutional Rights of Undocumented Immigrants. So that's what we're reading today. I have the reading on my iPad. Here it is. I've read part 1 of it, but since this was a long reading, I'm breaking it up into 2 days. I put start here 11/5/21. So we are going to start here. Get my little highlighter going. And then we will return to Kurzweil to have it read out loud. So we are here at Blocking Messy Details.
Blocking messy details. Attorneys utilize the second strategy to construct clean victimization narratives for UV clients. Along with migrants presented them with, lawyers sought to deter their clients from mentioning such details in the first place. Part of giving clients agency to live in productive ways while still upholding a good faith legal practice. 17 in this way, curbing migrant clients.
I went through my reading for international migration. Something that I've actually been struggling with as a college student is what information is important. Sometimes I feel like I highlight too much, but I think so much is so important. So if anyone has some tips on like how to highlight or like what to take notes on, that would be really helpful, because sometimes I just highlight so much stuff that I don't know needs to be highlighted, but I think it's interesting or important. So that's all done. Okay, so as I was trying to say, the last class we need to do work for is for education. I'm in Theories of Learning, and today's assignment is culturally responsive teaching. So the assignment for this week is I'm reading part 1 of this textbook. Since there are 4 chapters in this textbook, I'm reading 1 chapter a day. So today we are doing chapter 2 because I already started it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set it up on my Kurzweil, and then I will be using my pencil to underline the important stuff in the book. Don't like using highlighters in these thin textbooks, mainly because they bleed through. And I don't like when it bleeds through. Sometimes it bugs me when pens bleed through papers. So we're just gonna use a pencil. I need a pencil. If I were a pencil, where would I be? Okay, since I don't know where my pencil is, because I really only have 1 pencil, I guess we're using pen. Oh, here's a pen. We'll use this pencil.
With background knowledge and usable information in order to know how to apply culturally responsive tools and strategies. Building background knowledge begins with becoming knowledgeable about the dimensions of culture as well as knowledge of as a culture. Think of culture as software for the brain's hardware. The brain uses culture made up of tacit knowledge and unconscious assumptions that govern our worldview. It also contains the cosmology view of them. Deep culture also governs how we learn.
Now that the little reading is finished, we do discussion questions. There's about like maybe 2 or 3 per chapter. So I did some of the discussion questions. I'm very annoyed with how my voice sounds. Like, I don't like when my voice sounds like this. Like, I don't, like, it's not right. My voice doesn't sound like this. Like, I sound like I have a frog in my throat, which I do. This is what I have to do. So yesterday I worked on chapter 1, and this was from chapter 1. Yeah, this was chapter 1. So I had to explain what culturally responsive teaching is, talk about the 4 practices of culturally responsive teaching, and then how to support struggling students become independent learners. Looks like today we are gonna do, many students are impacted by the culture of poverty. The culture of poverty was talked about at the end. You see poverty is not a culture. So we talked about that. And then, so we didn't talk about neuroscience, so I assume that's chapter 3. Yeah, because it's talking about your brain on culture, so that will be chapter 3. So today's is just 4 and 5. So let's do this now and knock it out.